Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Four Lads Rangers Monday Night Live, joined by the main men, as usual, Amrit and Kenny. Kenny, good evening. How are we?
I'm all right. Laughing at Amrit, but I'm absolutely fine, yes. Doing his last minute preps before he came on there 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, he was worried about the light shining on his head. It's a problem all three of us have. Amrit, good evening. Amrit, that's a wonderful microphone, and you appear to be from a shiny new laptop as well. How wonderful.
I'm just very blessed, Stevie, and very grateful to you and all our members who help and support the channel so that we can buy fancy gifts like this for me. So thank you very much. I'm really, really delighted with it, Stevie. The laptop's perfect once I figured out how to work the blooming thing, and this mic's even better, so thank you.
Yeah, folks, Kenny might be leaving us this evening because due to arrive at Kenny's, and everybody on Friday night's live show will know this, Kenny's due his new laptop also, and it's not a voucher I've splashed out this time. Kenny, you say you've got your new mic and everything.
Can't wait, mate. Look, behind me there is my window. Look for a DPD van somewhere about 20 to 8. And if we're still on air, I will reveal it to the public.
I hope, Stevie, that the DPD driver can't be arse ringing the doorbell and puts one of their cards through. Sorry, missed you. You'll need to contact us for redelivery. That would be classic.
I hope not. I paid a lot for that. But anyway, folks, let's get on with the show. Huge thanks to our sponsor, CBD Oil Scotland. You can get 30% off. I believe that's going up to 50% off if you go on CBD Oil Scotland and save Four Lads. There's going to be loads of new deals and things coming with them in the coming months as well. Candied, Amrit's very own ice cream extravaganza. We are delighted to be partnered with Amrit's business, and LBJ Consultants, Elite Scotland, Metaclad, Four Lads official roofing partner, Cosmetics by Sharon. You can also get a 10% discount by mentioning them, and our new sponsors, Denhay, as well. Welcome to them. It's going to be a fantastic response. We are absolutely delighted to have all our sponsors. We're going for a bit of the Formula One, where we have enough sponsors to cover the screen. So we're really looking forward to that. I'm at West Ham yesterday. Give us your thoughts. What did you make of it?
Well, Stevie, I went into it and I was very excited going into the game. It was just great to be back there again. Was there on the Wednesday, but I think yesterday with the increased attendance, it just felt like it wasn't a pre-season in some regards. And I was excited to see some of the players and see if we'd been able to fix some of the things from Wednesday night, which caused some concern. But it was a little bit flat, wasn't it, really? I don't think we can expect too much because it is a pre-season friendly, and I get that, but you still want to see signs of improvement from week to week. You want to see us gradually getting better as we get closer to Friday night, which is when the real stuff begins. But I think we started well, to be fair. The first 10, 15 minutes, I thought we did well. We got into some good areas. There were some nice give and goes. Asgard looked very comfortable on the ball. Cammy Devlin was doing his thing. And we seemed really solid for the first 10 or 15 minutes. And then we gave up possession quite easily to West Ham. We seemed to be comfortable in allowing them to have it. I would say there was some improvements from Wednesday. I think Wednesday we were pressing very high and we were getting caught out at the back with the ball over the top. Fernandez always running back towards his goal. Poor communication between the defenders. There was a lot of space between the front line and the back line, which meant that there was a lot of space to exploit for St Etienne. But yesterday it felt like that gap had closed slightly. I'm not a technical genius on football, but it looked almost as if we weren't pressing as high and we were allowing West Ham to have the ball. But the minute they came into our half, that's when we started to go and press. We weren't pressing in their half, which I think Derek McInnes probably thought to keep the lines slightly closer together and not create gaps in between them the same way we did on Wednesday. That seemed to work quite effective, Stevie, because we didn't really give them much at all. We didn't give them a sniff, to be fair. And I know people are saying they're a championship side, but they've still got Premier League players in their squad, 20 million centre-half and 25 million strikers and all the rest of it. So that's a good side. There's no question about that. And I think we held our own against them. The sad thing for me and the thing that worries me is that we didn't really create an awful lot ourselves, Stevie. We may have not given away a lot, but we didn't create a lot. And it strikes me that there's a lot of similarity between last season and this season in the terms that we were hard to beat, but we're not creating anything, which means we're not scoring. If we're not scoring, we're drawing, and drawing's not going to win you leagues. So we really need to have people saying we haven't got a lot of creativity, but I think it's worse than that, Stevie. It's a lack of imagination. It's a lack of ingenuity, and it's a lack of artistry. And I think you need that artistry in the final third. You need some flair. That we keep saying, the sprinkling of that magic dust, and we really seem to be missing that at the moment, which is causing concern.
Kenny, what was your thoughts on West Ham's visit yesterday?
Great attendance. I thought the first half we were pretty decent without being incisive. Second half, change of shape. Wasn't convinced by that at all. I don't think it worked particularly well for us. I thought West Ham came right back into the game. But the first thing I would say is I thought we defended very well over the 90 minutes. We looked really solid, which is nice, which is good. I thought the difference again when Cammy Devlin came on in the second half last Wednesday and then went off at half time, I think the difference is glaring. I think he's the one that stood out and caught my eye. I thought Ben Godfrey was really good. However, Amrit is absolutely spot on when it comes to imagination more than anything else. That player that is capable of unlocking a defence, we don't have one at this minute in time. I thought the two wingers didn't do enough to basically foster either of them into their Derek McInnes' plans. I thought Finlay Curtis struggled a little bit on the right-hand side. I thought most of our good work came down the left-hand side, but JD Gassama's final ball kind of lets him down an awful lot for me, and I think that's where my issue is. I don't think we were creative in the sense of I didn't get the feeling, Stevie, over most of the game that we were ever really going to score, and that has got to be a concern. And Derek McInnes has kind of alluded to that in his after-match comments, which we'll discuss. But at the same time, everybody there yesterday, anybody watching it on our TV yesterday would be able to tell you that we are struggling to create real glaring opportunities for our strikers, and that needs rectified, and hopefully the board can get that dealt with as quickly as possible.
Yeah, what I would say overall about the game is I thought the crowd was fantastic. West Ham brought up 3,000 or 4,000. We were expecting more. I think they sold more tickets, but I was told this morning at Ibrox that almost 1,000, 1,500 didn't turn up from West Ham, so that was disappointing. But they still brought a big crowd. I thought Rangers crowd was incredible, and I especially thought the last 15 minutes, I thought the atmosphere was fantastic. I thought the crowd were really brilliant and a right good sing-song. It kind of drove the team on a wee bit. My own thoughts in the game, I thought Rangers looked particularly well organised and well solid. The mistakes of midweek with the defenders jumping out didn't seem to happen, and that's good for me to know that they're correcting these wee things. I thought that there were some good performances. I thought Ben Godfrey looked good. I think he's going to be a good player for us. Again, I thought Ivor Pandur was quite solid in nets. He had that free kick to deal with from Ward-Prowse. He dealt with a couple of crosses and things. So, I think genuinely that it was a really good run out for Rangers. Now, I asked the manager afterwards, does he feel like we need reinforcements in the final third? It feels like to me we're missing that wee bit. And he said, yeah, difference makers. So I think the manager is well aware of what's going on here, folks. And I don't think that's a huge surprise. I think the positives for Rangers, again, I think Cammy Devlin looks like he's going to be a really good player. I've got to be honest, I don't like the criticism of Neil or Curtis. There seems to be a lot of judgment calls. Please remember this is a friendly. I spoke to Finlay earlier on, and he was saying he's still rusty and he needs to get up to speed and hasn't done a lot. You know, as a support, we go from Finlay Curtis scoring 20 goals a season, being a wonder kid, to I think we should put him out on loan. I just think we need to slow down a wee bit with regards to snap judgment, especially on Neil. Now, the thing with Neil is he's maybe not the same type of player that Devlin is. Devlin jumping into tackles, making it, driving the team on and stuff. Neil's a different type of player, and as is Chugwani, as is Dragicevic and things. So we need to be a wee bit patient, and saying that players aren't good enough and all that at this moment, I think is a lot. I think there needs to be a little bit more patience on snap judgments of players and things from friendlies, where the manager clearly said, and in fact, to quote the manager, I hate friendlies, I can't wait for these games to start. They serve their purpose, but that's about all they do. And we expect, our players to suddenly be world beaters 1 minute and then we're wanting to get rid of them the next. I just want a wee bit of patience, a little bit of understanding of where we are. Is that fair? I mean, it is the Rangers support after all.
I think it is absolutely fair, Stevie, and we spoke about this last week as well, that as a fan base, inherently, we are impatient. I'm guilty of that as well. I think we all are, and we react emotionally at these things after we see performances we're not happy with. Of course we do. But you're right, there needs to be a little bit of balance about the whole thing. We've got some young new players in that are absolutely great prospects that can do the job, and I have faith in them. But it is going to take time, because there's some guys in there that are going to have to take time to get used to the Scottish game as well. And do you know what? It might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, it might take a year for some of them. And I know that's not what people want to hear, and I know that's not good enough for Glasgow Rangers, and I'd love for everyone to come out the blocks firing and we blow teams away. But the reality of the matter is that that's not going to happen. It's going to be a very gradual, progressive improvement under Derek McInnes. That's what I believe. And I think evidence of that is, we'll talk about this afterwards, but is the emergence of Thelo Asgard, because for the first 6 months, that laddie couldn't kick his own backside. But now over time, he's started to get used to the game and the environment, and he's performing. Sharmiti's the same. It took him 6 months, and then all of a sudden, he's improved. So there's going to have to be a little bit of patience, and we're going to have to just persevere. The good thing is, though, Stevie, that on the other side is that we will have a fairly decent sized squad, I would think, with quality throughout it, hopefully, because we can see that there is quality in there just now. So there will be a rotation. If certain players are not performing to the standard or not improving the way Derek McInnes would like, there are others there to come in and take their place. But it doesn't mean that once a player's out of the team or out of favour, that he's in the wilderness and completely isolated. I don't think that's Derek McInnes' management style. Sometimes you take someone out, you give them a reset, you give them some time, and you bring them back in again and deploy them in the future. So yeah, I think patience is absolutely the flavour of the month for us, and it's going to be the flavour of the season. But there's definitely quality there. And we can't all of a sudden, Stevie, say that we all wanted 6 weeks ago, we're all going on about Curtis. Oh, Finlay, Finn will do the business, he'll do the business. And the minute that he's had a couple of sticky games or slow starts, and he's only got 45 minutes on Wednesday and 45 minutes yesterday, straight away then we're just blasting the kid. I mean, that's just completely counterproductive. It's not what we need to be doing. We should be inspiring, encouraging and motivating this young lad, not trying to pull him down. We should be building him up. And we need to be very careful about the language we use. We need to be careful about our posts, because the players see it. And we can really break someone's spirit if we're too hard on them, especially someone who is a true Ranger, by the way. He bleeds for Rangers. He loves this club, and it's our duty to make sure we give him the support and encouragement he needs to get better. That's our duty as fans.
Yeah. I just think we go up and down too much, the stuff about Finlay and things like that. I think as a support, Kenny, there's a lot to be pleased with yesterday. Nobody's disputing the fact that, we need a lot more in the final third. Even the managers agreed. But I just would like to see a little bit of balance. That's the word I'm looking for, because we go from Finlay Curtis should never have been put out on loan in January, and he should have stayed, and he should have, but then the next minute, after a 45-minute game, he's not ready here, he's not. And I would just rather see us show a little bit of patience and get behind the lad. And not only Finlay Curtis, but I'm talking about Dan Neil and others that have came in. I joke that we give them 15 minutes. The reason I give them 15 minutes is because we do stuff like this. And listen, I think we all know that there's a lot more to be done. Not many clubs have signed 7 players by this point. It's a long way to go in the window. McInnes says we're close to 1. There's big reports breaking that that's the centre half. You know, he says he wants another by Friday night. We could have 2 in by the time we go to Tannadice. So there's a lot to do, and I think we all know that. But you know, the positives for Rangers, West Ham, by the way, good side, really well drilled. Lot of big signings in there. I think the boys up front were worth 50 odd. David Edgar would mention to me that the defence was built for 100 million. You know, and we were the better side yesterday. I don't remember, you know, Jared Bowen's an excellent player, Ward Prowse, excellent players. I don't remember those boys troubling Pandora that much at all. So from West Ham, I thought that they were a pretty decent side, and Rangers managed that really well. Now, we'll not face too many teams with that kind of, you know, balancing things, Kenny. So from our point of view, I would have liked to have seen us win the game. I'd like to see a bit more up front. We had that Shankland header, Asgard effort. But we all know, and the manager agrees, where we need to improve. So for me, the pre-seasons went pretty well. There's been no big injuries. There's been no big issues. We're unbeaten. Now, that doesn't win you anything, absolutely not, but it builds the style and things that we want. And all in all, I think we're doing okay. Would have liked to have been further on with a winger or two and a bit more excitement in the final third. Absolutely. But overall, where we are, I'm pretty happy with it, lads. Got to be honest.
Yeah, for me, it's a situation where when you look at it realistically, you're not going to get all your business done. We understand that. However, I think the reason that the fans are going the way they are is the start of the season's 4 days away, Stevie. The last 2 games at Ibrox there, we haven't scored from open play. And we haven't really looked like scoring from open play. So we are a fickle support, and we are fully aware that the manager's telling us we need wingers. The manager's telling us we're light at the back. And we want that all done as quickly as possible. However, real life doesn't work like that, and we have to be prepared for that. I thought Dan Neil was pretty decent yesterday when he came on, actually. I didn't think he was brilliant at all. I've liked the look of the majority of the new players, but it's only pre-season, so I'm trying not to judge them in that kind of sense. Once the real football kicks off, that's when you start to make your mind up on players. And for me, it's very par for the course for Rangers fans to lose their shit really quickly, because we literally haven't particularly looked like scoring. But the manager's pointing out there is a perfectly valid reason for that. We need to get the ball out wide. We want a ball carrier. We want creativity. We need that guy that can get that ball into the box to create chances for the 4 decent strikers that we have. It is that simple. Although I said I thought Finlay Curtis had a poor game yesterday, I don't think I think he's much better on the left. I think Gassam is also better on the left. So poor Finlay got the short straw, effectively having to go and play on the right-hand side. You're also talking about a defence that is a Premier League defence. And I understand they're going down to the Championship in a couple of weeks, but for the money that squad has cost, if you're being fair, we shouldn't really be competing with that, Stevie. However, we did, and we deserved to win the game, and we were the better side. And I thought, as I say, the West Ham had the better of the first 20 minutes of the second half, I thought. And apart from that, I thought we were the better side. We're maybe a week farther on in our prep, so there could be reasons for that. But it is one of those things that I am now at that point where, see when you go on after a game of football, when you go onto Twitter or Instagram or whatever, I just turn it all back off again. I genuinely do. I talk about this every other week, Stevie. It's the highs and the lows of Rangers social media is bonkers. It is. It's genuinely crazy. I mean, I was seeing people questioning Derek McInnes last night, and you're like, we've not even played an actual flaming game. Are you mental? And I just don't get it, mate. I genuinely talk to you about this all the time. Social media is a place that I get no great amount of time for, and I get pulled up last week on here for turning to say, well, what do you think YouTube is? I don't mean it like that. I mean for posting and debating on comments and stuff like that. It's just a waste of time, because everybody's got their own page, and what that page is theirs, and it's their opinion, and their opinion is right on their page, and that's it. So you can't really argue or debate with anyone.
I understand. Look, I understand the impatience and understand the judgments as such, because we're all desperate for success. I think that's absolutely fine. I understand it completely. But I would just like to keep the positivity going a wee bit. I think we've had a good pre-season. Derek McInnes has came in, and immediately we look a lot more solid. Yeah, look, there was a couple of disappointed, corners and things yesterday. Could it have been a wee bit better? Of course it can. I would have liked to have seen more from Gassama, Curtis and Ant-Man. And I'll be honest with you, Amrit, I feel like at times there's players that get opportunities here at this football club and they don't really take them. And that I would put that into the Gassama, Ant-Man bracket and things at the weekend. I don't include young Finlay in that, because I think young Finlay's still getting there. He said it himself today. I feel like Diamandi had a good game at times, and then his passing yesterday I thought was atrocious when it really came to it. I think in the first 2 minutes we were 3-on-2, and he put out a ball way out wide when he had Nadiri and Curtis to aim for, and it's that kind of moments where we lack that instinctive bit of quality. But I just think as an overall where we are, and having a new manager come in, listen, we look a million times better than we did under Russell Martin at this point last season. We're a lot more organised. We're not getting ripped apart by teams, and I think that you need to find that spark that the manager already knows. So there is a lot of positives. Pandua, Godfrey, I'll say it again. That back four, I thought Dujon Sterling was excellent yesterday. Having been captain in the side. So in midfield, there's a plethora of options. I'm looking forward to seeing the new boy who did train today. I was at the training thing today, so that was good. I've seen a lot of him. And then, up front, I think we've got 4 decent strikers. There is that last wee bit. Yeah, absolutely. We all acknowledge that. But there might be games at the start of this season, like Dundee United on Friday night, we just have to go and grind out. We have to go and get the points, and that's really what matters, Amrit. So I'm trying to stay on the positive train. I think hanging about with you has really done me a service there. So I'm looking forward to the start of the season. I'm really liking Derek McInnes. I like what I've seen so far of the players that have come in. They're not all going to be world beaters. I would like to see players step up like Gassama and Man take their opportunities more. But there's a lot there, there's a lot of business still to be done coming in, a lot to be going out. So I'm enthusiastic about what I've seen so far, and I'm really hopeful.
Yeah, Stevie, listen, I agree. And you know me, I always try to look on the bright side of absolutely everything. And maybe I'm delusional, but I'd rather be delusional and happy than realistic and unhappy. So for me, if you're looking at the side now, Stevie, we're not that far away, in my opinion, from having a really good starting 11. Now, I'm being careful about what I say here, but if you look at Pandu as your goalkeeper, the back four for me, that's your starting back four. Sterling, Romans, Fernandez and Godfrey. I'm happy with that as my starting four. Yes, we need more depth in the back. I understand that. But as your starting back four, I'm okay with that. Up front, Shanks and Chermiti for me would be my starting two, and I'm okay with that as well. In the middle of the park, remember, we still got Raskin to come back. I know there's a lot of discussion around his future and where it lies, and I know he's not available for Friday. But if he doesn't go, Raskin's going to feature as well. And that's a real luxury to have in any midfield for any team. So we've got to be mindful of that as well. We've got, like you said, your word, a plethora of midfielders. Yes, we've got a lot of quantity. Quality perhaps is lacking. I accept that in the wide areas. But, maybe a winger or two. And, we're not far away, Stevie, from having a really good starting 11. But I accept that there's a lot of business to be done, a lot of ins and outs, and a lot of players, like you said, that haven't taken their opportunity. I'm a little bit frustrated with players like Ant-Man and Gassama, because it feels like they have been given opportunities in the past and not quite grasped them. I think Gassama's probably more guilty of that than Ant-Man. I don't think Ant-Man's really been given the chance of a run of, say, half a dozen games in the team, whereas Gassama has, and he really flatters to deceive sometimes, doesn't he? He's not great. There was a time yesterday, I think, where Jerry had ran with the ball and he'd lost it and he didn't track back, and McInnes was going absolutely bananas down on the side of the touchline. So you can see that whilst Derek McInnes has a positive impact on a lot of players, some of their attitudes for me are still not quite right, and that takes time to rewire them effectively. But I think people like Ant-Man and Gassama could find themselves surplus to requirements depending on the business that's done. First of all, someone's got to come and take them, Stevie. We can't just say they're going to go. Someone needs to take them, or someone needs to buy them or loan them or whatever it may be. But I want to be positive because I don't think we're a million miles away, Stevie. We've got Dan Neal in the middle of the park. We've got Chakawani there. We've got Asgard, who was just like a different player yesterday. He seems to be the only creative, artistic type of player that we have at the moment. So let's be positive about where we're going and hope that we do get a couple of bodies in, because Derek said we would between now and Friday.
Yeah, Kenny, I want to talk about the captain thing for a wee bit. He's revealed he's pretty much made up his mind who's the captain. He admitted there was a leadership group at the training ground already. Knows the focus will be on who he gives the armband to. Doesn't overly like a centre forward being captain, prefers it at the back. So that was interesting. We've had 5 different captains from memory. We've had McCrory, we've had Godfrey, we had Dujon Sterling yesterday, we had Lawrence Shankland, and we've had Dan Neal. So I've always thought it would be Lawrence Shankland. If it's not going to be him, it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you something. I had a conversation with Dan Neal this morning, just welcoming to the club, and basically, said to him, how's he enjoying it and stuff like that. And he was saying that it's really good and positive steps. He said when he first came in, the only voices he could hear was him and Ben and Ross in the first couple of weeks. He said now training is so noisy and it's so loud and there's a lot of voices, and he says that he's feeling like it's really positive. I think all the players are quite honest when they say we'd like to do more in the final third, but they're all recognising that as well. I thought he spoke really well. And it's interesting that he was saying about the voices and training. Spoke to a few of them today, and they all seem to be really positive about it. But do you have any kind of preference? We all spoke about this on Friday night, actually, at the live show, and I said Shankland. I don't think that changes for me. I think Lawrence is where I want it to be, but I'm interested, Kenny, and then Amrit, if you want to jump in, is there any thoughts on the captaincy? If McInnes is saying, I don't want it to be a forward, I would choose my captain to be Ben Godfrey, because I think that I like a centre half, and I think it could be the making of him. I'm not so sure that McCrory will start every week, or Sterling. I think they'll be, dovetailing in between. And I'm not sure Dan Neal starts when you've got obviously Vanya in there, Cammy Devlin, Chugwani and things. So for me, it's Ben Godfrey, if it's not Lawrence Shankland. So, boys, have you got any thoughts, Kenny? And then Amrit jump in.
My thoughts, we were asked this question on Friday, and I said Dan Neal for me, because I like somebody in the middle of the park to be the captain. However, on Derek McInnes' comments about not particularly liking a striker, he did have Lawrence Shankland as captain last year. So, I've got a funny feeling he might well go with Lawrence Shankland. However, I'm going to point back to Friday night when you consider Kevin Thompson's answer, which I thought was a cracking answer, where he said he wasn't really sure, but he felt that if Nico was going to be at the club next season, he would give it to Nico Raskin. However, what he said about Lawrence Shankland I thought was a cracking way of looking at it from a footballer's perspective. Was what he had said was that if you look at the 4 strikers up front, the amount of games we're going to play, European games, is Lawrence Shankland going to start every game? And he said, well, it's not a particularly good look if you're going to get a club captain and he's not playing a huge amount, which gave me an insight into what Kevin Thompson was thinking about our front line, actually, as well, where I think he's got an idea about it. But personally, I would go for Daniel or Ben Godfrey. Ben Godfrey has really impressed me the last couple of games, I've got to say, and his leadership qualities at the back were there for all to see. But a real soft spot already for Dan Neil. I think the boy's going to be great for us, and I think he's a natural leader.
Stevie, I think it's a good problem to have, isn't it, that we're discussing this, because a case could be made probably for any one of half a dozen players that could be captain and I think would do a good job. The Raskin argument, I'm behind. I think if Raskin stays, then for me, I would give it to Nico, absolutely. If Raskin goes, I think I would like it to be Mohamed Diamande. Look at Stevie. He was looking at the comments, Kenny, right? And then his face just went up like that. Did he actually just say that? See, you should pay attention, Stevie. Right now, I've got your attention. For me,
hold on a minute. Hold on a wee second. I do pay attention, but as I've told you, and I'll tell the audience, you're such a good speaker, as is Kenny. It gives me time to read comments and get them up on screen, and I half listen and half look at the comments, which are flying in. There's 2,000 people watching through all platforms. So please, Amrit, if you may, Chris Jack also texts me some transfer news, which is very prevalent to what we're going to discuss. So please continue with your point and don't come at the man. Okay, please.
Right, Stevie, you get back to reading your comments. I would go for Cammy. I would give it to Cammy Devlin. And I know we've only seen him in 2 games, but I've seen enough from that laddie, both in terms of his application, his effort, the way that he's encouraging the players around him. He's leading with his voice, with his presence. He's a little guy, right? I get that. He's just a small guy, but you don't have to be the biggest guy on the park to have the most gravitas and presence. I think he leads by example, and he's in the middle of the park. He's a bruiser. He gets stuck in. He's everything that I want a Rangers player to be, encapsulated in one wee person. He's just this little ball of aggression, and I think he would inspire and lead the other players, and he could lead them into battle, and I just think that's the guy that I would like, genuinely. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Cammy Devlin for me. It's got to be.
It's interesting. I seen somebody described Devlin as a Gattuso type, and I think that's quite interesting for the energy and stuff like that. I think that's not a bad thing. Now, people were saying don't give it to Ben Godfrey because he's on loan. I understand that. But with Ben Godfrey having a deal agreed for 3.8 million, if Rangers want to keep him, a loan like this for a player like him, it's almost like a signing in the sense of if he plays well, then we're going to keep him. So I don't see it as being so much so as Ben Godfrey being a lone player. I think that Godfrey, if he continues, will be a good player. A little bit of news that we broke earlier on. Paul and Seal, who spent the last year at Wraith Rovers collecting, I think, 4 Player of the Year awards down there, is set to go to St Mirren on loan, Kenny. A story that we broke earlier on 4 Lads. It said that he's in contract kind of negotiation for the club, but it's unlikely that he'll sign a deal and then move. That could be further down the line. He's only got a year left. So we slightly edited on the story as such, but him going out to St Mirren, I think it's a fantastic move for him, and not only that for the club. If we're getting Bailey Rice to Kilmarnock, Paul and Seal to St Mirren, these are great loans for the football club.
Great loan for the boy as well, mate. A good club and a solid Premier League club where he will get a good grounding. Went to Wraith Rovers last year, as you say, won Player of the Year awards. Clearly too good for the Championship, so he's getting that step up. I think it's a cracking move for the boy. He's a good player. I know you've seen a lot more of him, and you've been banging his drum for quite a while, yeah. Stevie. I know that you really rate this kid. What I've seen of him looks fantastic. Got a real potential about him. He's a prospect, and I think a move down there where it's nice and close. It's only 8 miles down the M8, mate. It's a perfect move for him. St Mirren have made some strange signings this year. That's a better one. I work in Paisley, as you know, and I'm up to date with what they're doing. And their fans are not convinced as yet, but that's a cracking signing for them. And I hope he goes there and kicks on yet again. It's very similar to what Finlay Curtis did last year down at Kilmarnock. If he can go and take the potential that he's got and go and use it, he could be coming back next year as a first team squad player, mate. It's fantastic for him. It really is. At his age, to get that move, it's great.
Amrit, I would agree. I think it's a fantastic move for him and for the club. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree. I think you guys have addressed it very accurately. It's a great move. We don't want players in our squads, Stevie, that are just going to rot on the bench. Those days have to stop now. We can't have talent on our doorstep and not then give them the opportunity to develop that they require in order to fulfill their potential. So moves like this are great. It's in our league. It's down the road, like Kenny said. It's convenient. It gives them good experience of what to expect when you're at Rangers. Obviously, Rangers is a very unique prospect, but being in the league, being in the country, being around the culture, it ticks all the boxes for me. And St Mirren's a great wee club. So I'd be thoroughly behind that, Stevie. I think it's very clever business indeed for our from our guys, for these young players that we've got.
Yeah, okay. So text message from Chris Jack. All credit to Chris for confirming a story which is kind of broken now on Scottish football. Rangers will move and sign, and I'm going to try and get this right, the pronunciation. Why do we not sign guys like Jim Smith so that Stevie could get it right? But Olefiu McInnes, the South African centre-half from Philadelphia Union, is on his way to Rangers. Thanks to Chris Jack for the heads up. It is a $4 million deal. I don't know what that kind of comes to in Rangers money. Dollars to pounds, it's probably as close to £4 million as you're going to get, if I remember rightly. It's probably 3.8 million or whatever. I'm no expert. Last time I went to USA, it was almost 1 for 1. So I'm not quite sure. Somebody smarter can tell me out there. He's from Philadelphia Union, a 4-year contract. Big money again, and it is the kind of defensive cover we need. Rangers are looking to be extremely solid. I think we've proved that so far. I don't know a lot about him. He's a right-sided centre-half. He was in the South African World Cup squad. He didn't play. And, you know, thanks to Chris again for the kind of breaking news. That one looks, you know, if Chris is sending me messages like that, I think it looks close to being done. So I think he's a young lad as well. Kenny, you might be able to tell me. We did talk about this lad a couple of weeks ago, and we have been keeping an eye on him with regards to. I think he even went on strike, didn't he, to force the move? So he's very keen on the move to Rangers. I'll Google it and try and. I think he's. I don't want to say it, and for definite, I think he's 22 years old. So we've had all sorts: 3 million, 2.3, 3.6. So listen, we're paying some amount of money for him, according to the folks in the comments. What do you make of this one, Kenny?
An interesting
I was
one.
reading Cammy's comments. I apologise.
That's all right. An interesting one because we were after him a couple of weeks ago, as you say, or the interest broke a couple of weeks ago. You're right. I think the boy went on strike because we were about the fourth. Look, there's DPD coming to my door. So Amrit, you take over.
Here comes a laptop, Amrit, my man.
Stevie,
signings and a laptop arrive all at the same time.
Stevie, I don't know an awful lot about this guy, if I'm honest. I was following the stories that have been coming out, but I didn't really pay all that much attention. Is this not the one that Milan were interested in at one point as well? Or is that someone else?
I'm not confused? Sure. He is 22 years old, so...
Right, and he's playing in the MLS just now, right? So I don't know...
Yeah, he plays with Philadelphia.
So I don't know an awful lot about the MLS. I mean, it's a bit of a diddy league, isn't it? Really, let's be honest. I mean, but listen, I'll give the guy every chance and every opportunity. Shall we do a live unpacking of Kenny's laptop?
Kenny, get yourself on mute and you get that bad boy unwrapped. We all want to see the box.
But
it was Milan. Milan were in for Diawara.
Oh, is that right?
He's the one that's went there. So.
Right, okay. So I don't know an awful lot about this lad. I'll do some research after the pod and figure it out. But listen, if he's £4 or £5 million, we need a centre-half. I hope he is the solution that we need to bolster our defensive line, because we know that Soapy can't do it, and he, you know, all likelihood is he won't be here either. So if that's your three centre-halves, McInnes, Godfrey and Fernandez, and then you suppose you've got Dujon there as well as cover as well. If you wanted to use him in the middle, you can do, but then you would need to maybe get another right back. We still need a left back. So there's still some work to be done in the back line, but that's one less thing, or one less position now that we need to concern ourselves with. But we really need to get on and get some bloody wingers, Stevie. I want 2 starting wingers, if I'm honest with you. Not that I don't have faith in Finlay Curtis, I do, absolutely. But I don't think you're going to get 40 or 50 games out of the laddie. I think that's too much to expect. So give us two wingers and a laptop, please, Stevie.
Kenny proudly showing off his new laptop, a new Dell. It's almost as shiny as his head. Kenny, you happy?
Of course I'm happy, mate. Thank you very much. And I'll be even happier when I get somebody to set it all up for me. Put it that way.
No vouchers used this time, folks.
Yeah,
So,
Kenny is basically Kenny, I would describe you as, well, probably a digitard. Is that fair?
My goodness, please don't do it. Listen, keep your jokes to Friday night. Anyone that was at the live show on Friday would have seen a 10-minute comedy routine for Amrit, and it was a lot of good folks, a lot of good fun folks. What I will say is Rangers are also strongly linked with Amaro, Cozier, Dewberry on right wing. All the reports are saying that is not close. But for the right wing, he is somebody Rangers are looking at. The Brighton youngster, he was at Bolton last year. £5 million has been talked about. I'm interested in this one because I just don't see Tony Bloom wanting to do business with Rangers. So if that's going to happen and he's somebody that's going to be coming to the football club, Cozy or Dewberry, then I'm interested to see. Kenny, what's your thoughts on the young lad? He apparently had Derek Clark, who reports for Bolton and commentates, said he was absolutely brilliant, but they figured him out quite quickly, and when it came to Christmas he was kind of dumped on the bench a wee bit, and then he had a renaissance again. He's a young man again. He's not got a lot of experience, I suppose, but they're buying somebody. The good thing is he's naturally right-sided. £5 million in today's day and age isn't a lot. Derek said he done the whole Czerny thing. He cut inside. He could take a shot. He's got a good finish on him and stuff. So interesting to see how that one goes. Rangers are believed to be in talks with him. None of the reports are saying it's close. So whether or not he'd be here for Friday, I'm not sure, or even the European game. But he's the one, Amarillo, Cozier, Dewberry, that's been linked for the right-hand side.
I don't know anything about him apart from what people are talking. I've listened to Derek talk about him, and he's very complimentary, as you say. I'm a little bit like you. I'm a little bit concerned, and bear with me when I kind of say this, if you can understand this. I'd be a little bit concerned if Tony Bloom is quite keen to do business with us at all with a situation like that. That I don't understand that. If you think back to I can't remember what player it was, but Celtic inquired about a Leeds player, and Parag Marathi in January was stunned, and he's come out and actually said we were just absolutely perplexed about why they were even on the phone. So I get the feeling that if I was Tony Bloom, I'd be exactly the same. If Rangers came calling, if you know what I mean. So I don't understand it. However, life is a way. Life can surprise you sometimes. So I don't know. I don't know anything about the boy. I'm not going to pretend I do. I haven't seen much of him at all. I've seen a couple of the video reels, and that's it, Stevie. And he looks a tricky player. He looks quite small, which concerned me. He looked really quite small. But he certainly got ability. I mean, there's no question in that. And he had a good season with Bolton last year. However, again, I'm going to be very cautious about the way I word this and say that we've seen an awful lot of kids like that in that league, and they don't do particularly well elsewhere. It's just a league that kind of allows certain players have a certain ability to kind of express themselves. So I don't know where that will go, Stevie, at all, and I'm not 100% convinced by it, but that's perhaps with a little bit of ignorance thrown in, because I genuinely haven't seen much of the boy at all, but it's intriguing.
There's a definite ignorance from me. I don't know a lot about the boy at all. What Stevie, I will say is it's very positive for me that, sorry, Amrit, that it's very positive for me that they're out there looking for a right-hand side winger. Positive for me that they are moving to sign McInnes as well to bolster the defence. We're still spending money. There's no indication that our spending's going to stop. I think we've been quite prudent about how we've went about it. There's not been a massive amount spent. When you think about the money we got in for Danny Rule, the money that we've had in, has helped everything. We've got a share issue. You know, there's no danger that Rangers have went out and splashed and overspent and stuff. But what I think we're doing is being quite methodical, getting good deals. Dragicevic has come in best part, what, 4.5 million. This boy's going to come in best part of 4 million. We're still looking at a 5 million right winger. You know, the business is still getting done. I think these are all positives. We just need to make sure that the boy that we bring in for the winger, or the players that we bring in for wide players, these boys have got to be the difference makers for me, because these are the ones that are going to be the real difference between Rangers having a really brilliant season and these guys being the exceptional, exciting ones, the ones that link the midfield, because I think we've got a good defence, a good midfield. I think we've got good strikers. It's the bit in between, the final third in between, getting the balls to the striker, getting the midfield thing right. If we can do all that, then I think we're going to be good. So what I want is, and I'm okay with McInnes coming in for £3-4 million and being the one who pushes Fernandes and Godfrey and that. I'm okay with that. That's okay to me. But the guy that they bring in, on the wing and everything, they've got to be the difference makers, like McInnes talked about. These have got to be the guys that win us games, gets the numbers, because that could be the difference for me for Rangers this year.
Yeah, you're right, Stevie. Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you, because my only concern is that we've got these young guys that have come in that are all potentially good players that have talent. You know, Dragojevic, Dan Neil, Chukwueze, Finlay Curtis, Gassama. These guys have all got potential, and we hope that they will do well. But for me, if we're going to, it's so critical, I think, that the right wing position is one that has to fire, and it has to be a starter for me. I would prefer to see someone with experience, someone with a track record or a CV of success that we know is going to be able to give us 10 or 15 goals, 10 or 15 assists, do what, I hate to keep on saying it, but do what Cherny did. We need that guy. I'm not sure, Dubry, I'm not disputing that the laddie has talent. I'm not saying that. I don't know enough about him, and I'm not writing him off at all. But is he going to be that guy for me? I think it's a lot of pressure to put on a 21, 22-year-old. I'm not sure he can be that person. Certainly not this season, maybe in a couple of seasons or whatever it may be. But for me, I just want to see a bit more experience come in the door, Stevie. They've identified that is an area that needs to be strengthened. I don't think it's to be strengthened with a 21-year-old kid, if I'm honest. Then again, on the other flip side, you say, well, we brought in Scove Olsen, who was experienced, who had a track record, and he flopped. So I know you're not always going to get it right, but I think you give yourself a better opportunity for success in that position if it's someone that has experience. That's what I would say.
A lot of people talking about Cherny in the comments. I will say again what I've been saying. Rangers haven't made contact with Václav Cherny. Václav Cherny's on a fair amount of money, and he would be walking away from a 3-year contract at Besiktas in the region of £40,000-50,000, and giving up millions of pounds. So I think to do that deal at his age, 28, I believe he is, I think he's on a lot of money, and it's a big deal for Rangers. Rangers splashing out money, 3, 4, 5 million on guys is basically where we are. And the flip of that is you're buying Vanja Dragicevic to flip him in 2-3 years for £20 million. So I'm not sure that we can afford to go and get a Cherny. I'm not afford we can afford, we can maybe afford the price and the wage, in terms of, an outlay one-off on loan or whatever, but to commit to a 3-4 year contract, and then when that runs out, the player being 32, 33 and having no sell on, I'm not sure that fits to where we are. I seen reports saying that it was 10 million euros for Cherny. I can't see that happening. The one that people keep asking about on Dahl, and I'll continue to say that the word is that Rangers like Dahl and Dahl likes Rangers, but if this is going to happen, it's going to happen towards the end of the window, and Rangers won't pay £9 million for him. So I think Rangers fans, we need to recognise the club stance on this and just see where it goes. And the thing with Cherny is as well, that might begin to soften as the window goes on with regards to Besiktas' stance, because if they do spend the big money and get Salah in and all that sort of thing, then, things are going to change. So we need to be a little bit patient in what's going to happen, Kenny, towards the end of the window, the club have made that, even with Mikey Moore. Now, if Mikey Moore goes off to Dortmund on loan, that's fantastic for him. And Spurs decide that's what they want for him, then that's brilliant. We might need to wait for Moore. We might need to wait for Dahl. Or, sorry, we will need to wait for these guys. We might need to wait for Czerny if Rangers decide that's an interest towards the end of the window. But there's also 5-6 weeks of it left. I know our league starts next Friday, but Rangers, we're playing the long game with some transfers. And I think for us, we just need to be, as a support, recognise that. This young boy, McInnes, that's coming in, his team wanted £6 million. Rangers look like they've got that in the region of £3.5 million. So we played hardball a bit there, and it's went on probably longer than we would have wanted. But I think it also shows that Rangers aren't going to be held over the barrel for players. So with likes of Dahl, maybe Czerny, likes of Mikey Moore, maybe, we're going to have to play the longer game and wait and see how that turns out. That's not great for us Friday night. Everybody wants them in, and I understand all that, but transfer world is different to Football Manager than what we all want.
No, it's real life, isn't it? It is that simple. We don't have an endless bucket, a bottomless bucket of money here. We have a budget. We have to work within it. And more importantly than anything else at this minute in time, Stevie, if anybody wants to be slightly critical of Rangers at this moment in time, I would say we've not got a great record of getting players out the door. We will get the players in the door. We did that last season. We got our business done really pretty well. It didn't work. A lot of it didn't work, don't get me wrong. But the board proved that they could get business done. It was the outgoings that are the issue. And I've said this for the past 3 or 4 weeks on here, Stevie, and I'll say it again. You can't have 40 players on 20 odd grand a week in your squad. We just don't have that kind of money. You have to offload before you can start to rearrange the furniture effectively. We've brought 7 in. We've lost the loans from last season and James Tavernier, but there's not a huge amount left. A replacement like for like with the keepers effectively. Spent a few quid on that. But other than that, we have got a lot of dead wood that we have to get out of that football club, Stevie. And there's no escaping that fact effectively. You have to be honest and say that there's, I think you said it on Friday night again, there's 10 that could walk out the door tomorrow and you wouldn't really miss them. Now think about that. That's 10 players on anything between 10 and 25, 30 grand a week. Add it up. It's huge. So we have to get some of these guys out before we can do our business. Patience is a virtue. We all say it, and we are not the most patient support. We are, and again, we all understand that. But I'm afraid there's no other alternative. It is just a situation where we're looking at and giving it. We want the players in, but we really do have to balance the books and address the situation as it is, Stevie. Derek McInnes has got far too many players on board as it is.
Amrit, that question was asked yesterday of Derek McInnes, and he said that a few players are starting to have interest in them and he hopes to see movement. He's had conversations with a few players saying that they should maybe go and look for football elsewhere. Again, we were asking these same questions last year at this same time. I think that hopefully over the next couple of weeks you will see movement for the likes of Bayrami and things, because I only mentioned Nadeem because he might be one that the club have looked to move on. There is, I think we could easily rhyme off 6 to 8 players who could leave the football club and we would look to replace them with better. But we have to move them on. The whole John Souttar thing, giving him a new contract very publicly, saying he's out the door. And John Souttar was in full training today, but we've not played him a minute in pre-season. What would happen is a worry for me. What happens if Fernandez or something happened this week? John Souttar's coming in and we've not played him in 1 minute. And I understand, the club want to change it and things like that. But as Kenny says, we have to be better. If John Souttar, was close to the door 2-3 weeks ago, he's still here 2-3 weeks later, and that's disappointing. So the manager did say there was more interest, but Kenny's right. We have to start moving these guys on. Your Ross McCausland, John Souttar, Cifuentes. There's half a dozen in there that we could rhyme out that I don't think are going to get a lot of football. No disrespect to them. It becomes clear that they aren't in the manager's plans. So, we have to do better there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a... It's tough, isn't it, Stevie? Because we know the players we want to get rid of. We know the players we've identified in our minds that don't have futures at Rangers, but there is a process and we have to go through that process. And it's a bit of a juggling act as well. Who do you get in when? Who do you get rid of at what point? And there's got to be eligible suitors there. Sorry, I don't mean to use it, excuse the pun, but there has to be eligible suitors for these players ultimately. And you might find that some clubs are waiting till right at last knock-ins at the close of the window to perhaps see if they can get a wee bargain. That's obviously a tactical thing they'll be looking at. There'll be clubs out there who do what we do, where you've rank ordered all your prospects and who you've got, and the ones that you would really like to get, the ones that you'd be okay with, and then the bottom of the pile, and then they'll be working through that agenda as well. So you might find that some of our players are like last-ditch efforts for them to plug holes at the end of the window. So it's a little bit discouraging because it does feel like nothing's moving with players going out of the door. But then we don't know the whole picture, Stevie. We just sit here and speculate. We only get little scraps of information, and a lot of it is not even right half the blooming time. So we're just creating these fantasies in our own mind about what the hell is going on behind closed doors, and nobody really bloody knows. So we just have to be patient. And I know it's not what we want to hear, and I hate saying it because I sound like a broken record, but I do have the faith that the ones that we want to get rid of, maybe not all of them, but I would think that the majority will go. They will go somewhere, whether it's a loan or it's a long-term deal. I think we will get rid of the majority of them, and we know the players that we need to get in, which is a couple of wingers, a centre half, which we have now, and a left back, and then we're probably just about ready to go, I would say, hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, indeed. Folks, for those of you that like the content, I went along today to Rangers training. Thank you to Rangers Football Club, Nick and the team there for their access. There wasn't many media there. I think me and Chris Jack were the only one. Sky were there, but we had tremendous access, and I put together a 15-minute training video. Now, listen, I'm not a professional filmer, photographer. I don't know how you would do. I'm just a wee average guy. So I went together and put all the video together. And I hope people enjoy it. You see a few draws, you see Shanklin scoring, you think you see Dragicevic scoring in the games and stuff, young Finlay Curtis. I got to speak to a few of the players and things like that as well. You won't see that on video just off. The players were absolutely brilliant with me. So it was really great to get along to that. So, it was very fortunate it falls on a week holiday for me. So I hope that people enjoy that. I just tried to put that out. You'll also see, I thought it was really interesting, at the end of the training, Derek McInnes spent a solid 10 minutes talking to Jerry Gassama. He was very visible in what he wants to do. You could physically see him going, I want you, bursting down wings and doing stuff like that. And that was on the end of the video. You can see him. I filmed it for a minute and he was easily, and I can tell you now that Gassama was not doing any talking. This was a conversation Derek McInnes was telling him. So that was really interesting. But what I would say is a massive positive, in the enclosure, there was a number of disabled fans who were along watching, and the players were absolutely magnificent with them. Pandur, Devlin, McCrory, Godfrey, Manny Fernandez, Yusuf Chermiti, who's the loveliest big guy you will ever meet. And he's a big guy, a little Stevie, I can assure you. But an absolutely fantastic boy. All the players all come over, Lyle Cameron, Finlay Curtis, all the boys, and they were absolutely fantastic with the fans. Now, there was thousands there today, and a lot of the fans were over signing all the kids, doing the whole of the Govan front. So, with regards to the players today and the club, I think they done themselves proud. And for all the young kids that went along today and got their first taste of it, I thought it was great. The access they gave to me was absolutely splendid. So I've got nothing but praise for Rangers and nothing but the praise for the players. Cammy Devlin spent time speaking away to me. Big Yusuf was absolutely lovely. Me and the big man shared a joke. He going for 25 goals this season, 30. I've got a bet with the gaffer. Love it. So honestly, I thought the club today hit it out the park, and I thought they were absolutely fantastic with their access. I thought the players were lovely. And they put in a shift, by the way. There was some serious sprinting going on in between the games and stuff like that. So if you want to see it, please go and check it out. I know a lot of people work and they couldn't get there and stuff, and absolutely brilliant that it failed for me on a week's holiday. Please go and check that out today. It's 15 minutes up on the website if you want to see what they do at training and things like that. That's something for you to watch. Kenny, thank you so much, mate, for your presence. We had a brilliant show on Friday night at Bar 442, so much so that the bars asked us to go back. We're really excited about that. We're thinking about doing another show soon. So it was a brilliant night for everyone. We raised the money we wanted to raise, and we raised some money for charity as well. So thank you for your continued hard work as normal.
No, thanks very much, and enjoyed the show. Had a great night on Friday. I specifically want to thank you, Amrit and Scott, for carrying me through that the other night there, because I wasn't very well, as you know. And listen, Kevin Thompson was a gentleman. He was absolutely fantastic. It was a great night. But specifically you three lads, thank you very much, because you looked after the old one there, so well done.
Amrit, thank you, mate, for joining us. A lot of people asking, where did you get your t-shirt? Please tell us. I've seen this one, so I know where it's from.
Well, the honest answer is I don't actually know it, because my ex-girlfriend's mother bought it for me for my birthday, and I love it to bits, but I don't know where she got it. So I don't know if Lindsay watches the show, but Lindsay, if you're watching, if you could let everyone know where you got it, because I love it. It looks great. But I don't know, I'm afraid.
I'm pretty sure it's one of the guys online that sell it. I'm pretty sure it might be the Copeland Road guys that sell that one, or it might be from the one that's got the stall in Braehead, because I'm sure that's where I've seen it, and I can't remember what that's called. It's an excellent stall for t-shirts and things, for Rangers ones, and I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. I'm sure it's like something 10 it's called. I really can't remember, but there was Boca 10. Thank you, John. Boca 10, that might be where it's from. That seems to ring a bell. I'm sure I've seen that t-shirt before. So, yeah, what I would say, folks, is thank you, everything. Thank you for everybody in the comments. Thank you for everyone that's joined, everyone that likes and subscribed, everyone that's a member of the podcast. We thank you very, very much. Huge thanks to our sponsor, CBD Oil Scotland, Candid, LBJ Consultants, Elite Scooter Scotland, Metaclad, Cosmetics, Cosmetics by Sharon, easy for me to say, and Denhay Bacon, who are just aboard as our new sponsors. The reaction from everybody is absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, everybody. So the big news, breaking news, I think Rangers tonight very close to signing South African defender McInnes, believed to be a deal in the region of £4 million on a 4-year contract. That news given to us by Chris Jack, believed breaking on social media. Paul and Seal will go to St Mirren on loan for the season. Danilo, of course, left over the weekend. Rangers with that draw with West Ham and a magnificent training day today, which was attended by thousands of young kids, and the players and the staff were an absolute joy. If you want to watch that, you can do on 4Lads socials. There's a 15-minute video to tune into. So yeah, a positive weekend for Rangers. It's all ahead now for Friday night at Tannadice. We'll be back with full coverage this week. I think we've got live shows going out every single night, so we may be back tomorrow on Tuesday night. We're certainly back on Wednesday night. Kenny and I are back at 7 p.m. I think the Friday show, because of the football, will just be a reactionary show on Friday night. We may try and get a preview one out earlier as well, but there'll be lots of content going out this week. On Saturday we'll have a new show. Saturday evening we'll get together and discuss all the football, and we'll look back on Rangers Dundee United, and then the Sunday show will be live on Sunday night as well. So there's plenty of content, I beg your pardon, coming from 4Lads. So a huge thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you to the boys, Amrit and Kenny. And on behalf of everybody here at 4Lads, thank you for joining in the comments and being part of the show. As for Derek McInnes and the players, pre-season is done now. It's all aboard Friday night and Tannadice, and this has to be a season we all remember. Wouldn't it be nice to have a winning Rangers team? That's everyone's want. Absolutely. Folks, good night. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now. The 4Lads Rangers podcast is proudly sponsored by Candid, LBJ Consultants, CBD Oil Scotland, Elite Scooter Scotland, and Metaclad, 4Lads exclusive roofing partner. The Aesthetics Lounge by Sharon, Denhay, the quintessential British bacon, Thank you to all our sponsors, and in partnership with Black Rooster, Art of Gold and Rangers Youth Development Company, thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.